All right, everybody, welcome to week 4. Are you guys excited? We've already made it to week 4, and you guys are doing a lot. You guys have gone over your business concept. You have done your looked up your demographic information, all your laws and regulations. You did the schedule for your labor. And now this week we get to go over the finances. How are we going to make certain that we, one, turn your dream into a reality, and then something weird happened. Okay, there we go. And then we get to make certain that you are able to success a business. Why is this happening? That is new.
Is someone sharing their screen?
Yeah, so I'm sharing mine to bring it back. Okay.
That just showed your password. I'm going to clock in.
Well, whoever that was. All right, but today we have a guest speaker. How exciting is that? So that first off, before we go into budgets and all that fun stuff, we are going to say hello to wonderful, fabulous Chef Gina.
Yay, thank you. Thank you for having me here, Chef Rachel, and your class. Hi, as she said, week 4. So you're not only in week 4, but you have just 3 more terms until you get to externship. So Chef Rachel had mentioned that you guys had a lot of questions about externship. So I'm just going to start by introducing myself. I'm Gina Donovan, and I will be your externship instructor right around the corner. I mean, you see how quickly this program has gone so far, and now you have just over 12 or 14 more weeks. Actually, a little more because there's a summer break in there. But hello, I'm going to share my screen. I have the tiniest presentation because I'm going to be in your next course, which is the Cuisines Around the World class. I'll be talking to you about the details of externship there, trying to get you ready and set up, and then I'll be there in Farm to Table as well for your live session so that we can just make sure that you are set up for success, ready to take this class. I can answer a couple questions here now, but really more importantly, you can put a face to a name, you can get my contact information, and you and I can start individual conversations because, you know, there are a lot of you, you're all over the place. You're all going to have different questions that may not relate to each other. I can give you some details about the course, and we can kind of talk about some what ifs, but then beyond that, we can start having that conversation about getting ready for externship, finding an externship site, talking to career services about sending you leads, working with you to get your resume ready, how to make site visits, what to do, where to start, get a list of sites that might be potential fits for you. And that's a conversation we'll have individually and you'll have with career services. So I'll share my screen briefly and just take a few minutes of your time. You all see my contact information there? No? Okay. So Gina Donovan, once again, your externship instructor. You can message me at chefdonovan@escoffier.edu. You can text or call this number, 805-364-2260. I am in California. I'm actually in Los Angeles proper, so all the conversations we had before class started about, you know, the highways. I was going to joke that there are helicopters going above and all this. I have a lot of action here in Los Angeles, so I'm not, all that country life sounds really good to me, green and all of that. But I am on Pacific Standard Time, but either way, just message me and I will get back to you within a day and hopefully answer any questions you have or point you in the right direction. So next, if I can get to the next slide here. Oh, and I can't. There we are. So some some paperwork. So externship is about you getting hands-on experience, honing the skills that you've learned. For me as your instructor, it's making sure that that's all ready to go on paper. T's are crossed, I's are dotted, everything looks good on paper. So you may have an externship site ready to go. We'll need paperwork for that. So there's an externship agreement and a site agreement. And those two agreements are due, and I'll go into more detail next class with those, and you'll have access to that paperwork then. But those are agreements between the school, us, and the site that, they're hosting externs there, doing, training. And there's a externship agreement between you and the site that you're a student, you're getting school credit and all of that. The other thing is you want to connect with career services. They are a great resource. If you're not already working with your career services rep, I really highly suggest giving them a call or an email. I have this career services at escoffier.edu. That's really the best place to get the conversation started. Hi, I'm currently in 225. I'm ready to start my externship, get the conversation started for externship. I need to find a site, or I have a site, or whatever your situation is. Email that career services and they will connect you to your rep within 24 hours. Your rep will contact you and you can get started with leads and all of that, and helping you for not only getting started in your externship, but your career path. Oh, did I miss a slide? Okay, here we go. The details. So externship is a course, just like you're in 225 now. Externship is EX200. It is a course. It's 6 weeks long, and it starts when you finish all of your practical courses. So you have just 3 more classes. You have this one, you have cuisines next term, and you have farm to table. Once you pass those courses, you have at least a 2.0, you can start externship, and you'll be scheduled for that. That, as long as you pass all the classes, that will be July 10th through August 20th. So that's a 6-week course. You'll need to complete 150 hours during those 6 weeks, and that's a minimum. So it's not like you do 150 hours and you're done. It's a 6-week class, just like this is a class. You start July 10th. Each week you turn in hours. That's your weekly attendance. And a lot of you may have a lot more than 150 hours, which is great. And there's not a lot above and beyond that. We have 2 live sessions during that course. We have 2 discussion forums during that course. And at the end, you'll do just a quick externship reflection essay. Really, it's about honing your skills, growing, developing, being out in the industry and working those hours. And my job is to make sure on paper those hours show. So you'll turn in weekly timesheets through an automated timesheet through the class. And all of that. So 25 hours per week would be the average that you would work to get to the 150-hour minimum. But like I said, a lot of you will do more than that. Some of you will have more than 25 hours a week, or, this is the hospitality industry. Slow weeks, busy weeks, you may have a week with very few hours, but hours are still attendance. So 2 hours, 4-hour shift, one shift per week, as long as you even out in the end and compensate for the missed time, and you get to that 150 at the end. So those are the details I wanted to discuss with you today. Again, my contact information, Chef Donovan at escoffier.edu. I'll put it in the chat as well, so you have it. And I'll stop sharing and see if there are any questions for me. Anybody?
Yes, Timothy.
I was just wondering if our current jobs, will any employer work as long as they work with the school?
You have to be in a commercial kitchen. So as long as you're working in a kitchen position and they agree to it, then yes.
So I can just, I work for Texas Roadhouse, a broil cook. So I can sit there and be a broil cook and work for them as long as the job works with the school.
Absolutely. So it's a matter of printing out that externship agreement and site agreement. You fill out your portion, they fill out their portion, and now your externship site is ready to go, and you're ready for July.
July 10th.
Okay, Robert, your question?
already talked to career services like 3 times about the externship, and they send me an email that says, oh, your ticket has been recorded. Fill out this and get back to us. And then I get another email that says, your ticket has been recorded. But there's no paperwork in the email that I can print out.
You're looking for the externship agreement and site agreement?
Right.
You want that early because you'll have access to it next term, but if you want it now, I can send it to you.
Yeah, because I'm actually the line supervisor. We have a chef, a sous chef, a kitchen manager, assistant kitchen manager, and then me.
Okay, and any of those people that you listed above you could be listed as your supervisor and would sign off on your hours.
Okay, I just don't have the paperwork, and I need it so I can print it out.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, we give you a link to it next block, and then farm to table is when the due date is. Of course, things can always be early, but it's very important that you understand that externship doesn't start for any of you until you pass all the core classes, all the practical classes. You have a 2.0 GPA, and then you're scheduled for it July 10th, so long as you pass, you know, the next 3 classes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And, you know, what I might do is, Chef Rachel, maybe I'll just email you the externship agreement and site agreement, and you can just attach it to a message to the class, and everyone can have it. You have it, just as long as you know that once it's received, you still don't start externship until after farm to table in July.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Because remember, guys, remember, I did my externship in Australia. I decided to go far away to do my externship. And there's no way I could potentially do my externship if I was still in school because I was in a different continent. So, but it is good to start researching now and finding those potential areas that you would like to do it in. Sandra, you are next.
Okay.
Sandra 6.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. My question is, I already work 2 jobs. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to squeeze an externship in with my 2 jobs.
That's a tough one. I'm not going to lie. You in order to complete the program, you need to take and pass externship. You need the 150 hours. So, you know, I don't know if you have any paid time off coming up soon. I don't know, you know, I'm not sure how that works, but the whole point of this program is to get you set up to work in the industry. And we're an accredited program, and being an accredited program, the externship is a very important and, you know, a mandatory piece in order to get that certificate.
Yeah, see, currently, one of my jobs is working in the bakery. I didn't know if I'd have to actually work in a kitchen or is the bakery fine?
What's your position there?
I'm a cake decorator.
I think we can probably make that work. Yes.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm there most of the time.
You had a baking, you know, you have the extensive baking class here. You're still in a kitchen. You're still working with food. So in some of these, you know, sometimes, you know, for my externship at the end of the program, I started in a pastry position, and I did my externship hours in a pastry position and then moved down the line. So, you know, for a lot of us, it is a starting point. So as long as you are working with food and you are working, you know, in a business.
Yeah, see, that's more my thing. See, because I was going to go for the pastry school, but my criterizer told me to, or the lady I talked to, she taught me into doing the culinary and pastry, and, you know, together. And also, I'll probably eventually come back and do the pastry side too. You know,
we see a lot of that.
See,
I'll have students finish externship and go right into the pastry, or vice versa.
Because because the pastries and the cakes and stuff that's my alley. That's what makes me go. But I've enjoyed the cooking and stuff because I've learned a lot from that too. And my kids will love it too because they get to eat better now.
Right.
Well, that's great. So let's, sorry, go ahead, Chef Gina.
Just to that point, you know, there are pastry positions that might be available to you all, and like Robert has a management position in the kitchen. You guys had a lot of your core classes have to do with managing. So if you are in the restaurant hospitality industry, if you are in a restaurant or a hotel or all of that, in a management and training position, that would also work as externship hours, because a lot of the core classes are geared toward that.
And then Rebecca, what is your question?
I have a couple of them. Is a food truck considered an industrial kitchen?
Yeah, and a lot of times we'd have to look a little further into it, but a lot of times there's a commissary kitchen or a prep kitchen that they're using in addition to the truck, so we can talk about what that looks like and what your position would be.
Okay, so here's the doozy. My disability, I got it because I can't work anywhere. There was no option for me. And if I get a job or an internship where I can be out in the world for 25 hours a week, I will lose my disability.
Okay. I think that you need to send an email to Career Services letting them know that straight away. Again, I'll put that in the chat. And we can kind of get you set up with Edie, our registrar, and talk about, either a leave of absence and where you would eventually have to come back and do an externship, or something else. But it sounds like you can't do an externship in July.
No, it's not gonna. It's probably never gonna happen because I get worse every year. So eventually, I'm gonna be homebound, and I'm hoping that this job is going to help me find a way to get my health back. But I can guarantee it's not going to be anytime soon.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be a conversation you'll have to have with Edie that we'll have to figure out.
Okay.
And just remember, guys, too, this is where we're having this so that you guys know who to contact for these type of questions. So you have that ability to, if you have questions, use the email, and then so now you have that guideline to go off of, and who will be the best person to help you through this process. And, Chef Gina has done a fantastic job and gave all of her information, and we have the Career Services information and all that stuff. So that's all great new information that I also got to learn, because I didn't know anything about the externship. So it was actually really, really great. I was actually really quite surprised to hear that you still have like the live session, like you have stuff going on. It's not just like, you're just off and you're away, because that's what happened to me. Mine was like off and away, and I would have loved it to have somebody to come back to answer my questions. So that is fantastic that it's still like part of like an actual class.
Yeah, it's nice that we get to kind of check in. It's only twice, one week 5 and one, the first one is week 1, usually day 1. But it's nice to just check in with everybody. There's usually about 100 or so of you at a time, externs. And so, my whole job is to track you all, make sure that you're all, on track to finish externship. But it's really nice to be able to have these sessions and just kind of say hi and go through, what everyone's doing. And it's kind of the final sessions before everybody graduates. So, and that's another point. What last day of externship, the minute you pass that class, on the very last day is the day that you become an official graduate. So you're all scheduled to have a grad date of August 20th. And that's not a graduation ceremony. That's the day that you become official grads. You finish the program. You've completed externship along with all of the other. So it's nice for the students to be able to get together in those live sessions and kind of just connect before the end of the program.
Yeah, well, and I see that you guys have a lot of questions, but we do need to move on. But we have that information. Chef Gina will give me the stuff, and I can put it into one of the delightful emails that I send to all of you guys, because I know you love all of them and all of the fun videos and links that I give you, right? Right? Yes, chef, I love it. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, that's fantastic. So, was there any final words, Chef Gina, that you would
I
like?
just put the career services at escoffier.edu into Robert's point. Be very specific in the email. I cannot do an externship because of these reasons. What is the next step? Please put me in contact with, and they will sort that out and make sure that they connect you with the right person. And my name is Gina Donovan. I'll put that. I think I put that in the chat, but I put my email, my name. It's Chef Donovan at escoffier.edu. That's how you can reach me. And then Robert, do I stalk you during the class? I wouldn't say stalk, but but my whole focus is to make sure that every single one of you that are on my roster graduates. So if I don't hear from you, I don't want you getting withdrawn for non-attendance, for not putting in any hours. So yeah, I might stalk you. I want to make sure you don't go missing and that you graduate from the program because you've gone this far, and I don't want to see, that go away without, hearing from you at least. So yeah, maybe a little stalking.
Oh, no, I'm going to definitely graduate. That way I can go to my job and tell them I want more money now.
Yeah. Yeah, especially after. I have a lot of students that say that they'll get that, we recommend that you ask after you do the 6 weeks and the 150 hours, you ask for even $1 raise, so I will let you have your class. Thank you for your time, everybody. And I look forward to having you. I'll see you next term. Take care.
Thank you so much, Chef Gina. That was fantastic.
My pleasure.
Information.
Maybe next time, right?
Yeah. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Was that do you guys feel a little bit better? Now you know who to go to and that information. Once she sends it to me, I will definitely send it to you guys so that you have it. And you can get all those questions answered. And remember to, like she said, be specific. Remember, that's all we talk about in this class, right? Giving as much detail as possible so that you have all of the information and that your questions are all answered. So right now, let's begin week 4. Isn't that exciting? Are you guys excited about that? Week 4? Yay! We're going over budgets. Yay! So, what do you guys think a budget is? What is a budget?
How much you can actually spend.
And still have profit.
Yeah, how much you can spend, you still have a profit. What else do you guys think a budget is?
Timothy says how much not to spend.
Yeah, how much not to spend, right? Right. Yeah. Because it's that estimation of how much money you will make, your revenue, and all the bills, your expenses that you have over a certain period of time. And you guys already do this in your real life, right? You guys get a paycheck and you know how much you can spend on groceries. You know how much you can spend on clothes, on gas, on rent, mortgage, utilities, Wi-Fi, all that stuff. You guys already do this. Now we just get to implement it for your business. So, and you will notice throughout this slide, don't worry, you guys will get them. It will be in your in the main page, that all of this will be, each one will have a link to discuss even further. So you guys are going to see a lot of different financial stuff, but you're also going to get a link that goes over it further. So you have that ability to look further for that information. So, and then we have budgets, and then we have the static versus flexible budget. So your static budget is things that always stay the same. So what do you guys think are things that always stay the same? Rent. What else?
Utilities.
Utilities. Yep. What else?
Not really utilities, because if you're busier, you're going to be using more utilities on one week than you would the next week. So that is actually flexible.
Yes and no, Robert, because it's always going to be that consistent bill, though. You are always going to have, like, your Wi-Fi is always going to be like $200. Your, like, a month, you know, like your phone bill is always going to be around that $250. It may range a little bit, right, based on how much data you use and whatnot, but you're gonna still, it's still a bill that you're gonna have to pay. Like, you're still gonna have to pay your water, you're still gonna have to pay your actual electricity and your gas. And as Timothy said, gas is usually for contracted for commercial. So yes, so those are always going to be like what we call your fixed costs, right? So those items are fixed because you are always going to have to pay insurance. You're always going to have to pay that rent, right? But what do you guys think would go into your flexible budget? Because that is based on your sales, right? If your sales go up, like, that budget's going to be higher. If the sales go down, the budget's going to be lower.
Food delivery.
Food. What else?
Paper.
Labor. Yep.
Utility.
Your
Utilities
paper,
would be
your
that fixed.
liquor, your labor.
Your beverage. Yeah, beverages. All those kind of things, right? And as you see here, I did this delightful little graph for you guys that shows, you can see fixed costs are always going to be that same, and then your sales may go up and down, and those variable costs may go up and down because of seasonality, right? You're still going to have seasonality where you may be busier during certain times, so you're going to make certain that you have enough food to cover that stuff. You have enough labor to cover those areas. And all of that stuff is really important because you can then figure out the areas that you would be able to actually, you know, save money. And to save money, do you guys remember what that 30, 30, 30, 10 rule was? That you guys
Flop.
heard. What was it?
Flop. Flop.
Flop. So what's flop?
Food, labor, other, profit.
Yes. Your 30% food costs, 30% labor costs, 30% other costs, and then your profit, right? Your 10%. So remember, if your average 10% profit, that means for every dollar you make, you made about 10 cents. Or sorry, for every dollar you receive, you made 10 cents in profit. Sorry about that. And I gave you guys this delightful little pizza bar graph. Isn't that cool? So, and I wanted to bring this up too, because if you notice, it shows here, we show you guys a guideline to go off of 10% because we wanted to make certain it was consistent and it was easy for you guys to remember, and having it be those even numbers helps you guys remember. But in realistic terms, it is usually typically between that 3 to 5% that you're actually going to get a profit. If you get to that 10%, that is fabulous and awesome, and you guys are rock stars. But don't panic if you only make like a 3 to 5% profit. But look at how much your cost of goods and your labor costs are. That's a good chunk of your pizza, right? Look at how much that is. And remember, these are your variable costs, right? Both of these are your variable. So remember, while this is where you can control those costs. You can decide, are you, and it all goes back to your concept, right? Are you going to have a like farm to table concept where you are actually going to get organic local products, because remember, some of those organic local products are gonna be more expensive, versus just buying something pre-made and making it easy, that kind of thing. Like, are you gonna make that ketchup yourself and spend the 3 to 4 hours making ketchup, or are you just gonna buy the Heinz ketchup and call it good? These are where you can kind of control what you choose to do and where you can save money. But remember, and please remember this, because those you can control it and you can find areas to save money, you don't want to lose your consistency or your quality of the product. And that includes your product for our industry is that tangible and the intangibles. So do you guys remember what the tangibles were that we talked about before? What are intangibles?
Tangibles are things that you can actually touch or physically able to grasp. Intangible would be like abstract things that you can't.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. Yes, because your tangibles are those things that you touch. It's the food, it's the cups that you use, it's the chairs and the tables and all that stuff. And then the intangibles is that experience that that customer is getting. It's the service that you're providing. That is those intangibles, and that's why it's combined to create that product. And you don't want to cut corners to the point where your customers' expectations are not met. And that's where you have to look at all the different costs, where you're like, well, maybe I can cut corners by cutting down a person like for labor. So my labor costs will be lower, but will you still be able to provide that same level of expectation that your customer is going to expect from you if you cut down a person on labor? The same thing with your product. Are you going to, pick that zucchini that's a regular one? Or are you going to do that organic zucchini? What are your customers' expectations? So that is where you really have to make certain that you look at the numbers and you look at the finances to really discover what you can and cannot do. One of my favorite stories is actually from Starbucks about this, is that they had somebody come in who was an efficiency expert. And they were able to look at the process, look at all the what they did, and noticed that the ice scoop that they had was a small ice scoop, which meant that every time a person had to do what's after the venti drink, that they had to do 2 scoops of ice. And to save time, they ordered bigger ice scoops. And they put little lines that said venti, grande, tall. So that way, that person could just do 1 scoop and be done, which saved seconds, but those seconds are pennies, and those pennies keep on adding up. And soon, the more seconds they do, like saved, the more orders they could do, the faster they could be, the more like consistent and proficient they were. So it's looking at those type of things to really be able to figure out what you can and can't do to improve, to make it better. Because remember that good old plan, do, check, act that I showed you guys, the nice little circle. It's all about the nice little circle, right? We always do that plan, do, check, act. And you just keep on going. And it's like you guys working on your recipes, right? You always are constantly trying to perfect your recipes, make them better, make them so that they are solid. And you're doing the same thing now, but you're doing it for your budget and you're doing it for your finances. So does that make sense to everybody? As Patricia said, yeah, finding the balance is key to the success. Yes, because remember, we're an industry of pennies. We're here because we love it. And we want those pennies to be turned into profit, because that is key. So let me share again. Hold on. I have for you guys a fun little thing that we are going to go over, because there's a lot of different financials that you guys have to look at, right? And I wanted to share with you the reason why, and we're going to go over quite a few of them. And it's stuff that now, if you guys are thinking, well, how am I supposed to come up with all of these numbers? I'm not open yet. I need you guys to remember, like, if you're talking to a bank, if you're talking to an investor, if you're looking to start a business, they expect you to have these numbers, to have that projection, to forecast whether or not you are actually going to make a profit. Because remember, you guys see forecasts all the time, right? Because you have to look at the weather forecast to see what the weather is going to be. You're going to do the same thing here for your budget, for your finances. And I wanted to share with you guys what I had to do for my master's, for my homework. My entire master's was based off of opening a pretend business, a recreational cooking school. So this will not exist, but I had to come up with all of the areas to go over it. So I wanted to show you all of this fantastic stuff that I came up with. I have my revenue stream of my alcohol, the cooking classes, the merchandise that I was going to sell, gift certificates. We were going to have a food photography studio, corporate etiquette classes, all of this stuff. And then I came up with all of my financial costs. How much is everything actually going to cost me? So I have my kitchen set up. I have small equipment, large equipment. I have decor on here, linens, glasswares, all of this information. And then I have other stuff like, how much did it cost me to get my liquor license? How much did it cost for the health department? Remember how you guys had to look up all that stuff? This is why, because they want to know what the actual startup cost is going to be. How much money do those investors need to give you to make this thing become a reality? So I came up with all of this, and then I put it right here. And as you can see, all of that equipment cost me $80,000. The legal cost, I talked to a lawyer, found out how much it cost. It's going to be $6,000 to start up my business, getting all that paperwork done. Working capital means how much money you are going to have to be able to run that business those first few months without making a profit. So all of the money that I need, all of my budget, and I did it for 6 months. So I looked at my monthly budget right here, which is a delightful little budget. Isn't this pretty? That has my salaries. See, I even put Chef Gregory and Chef Tyson in here. Boom. We're working on this together in my fake business. I have a bartender, dishwasher. I gave myself the benefits, so I included my health insurance. I have all the marketing information. I have my food and beverage and bank statements and all of that stuff. And I added it all together to add to my actual startup costs. And then I have my pre-opening costs. So before we even open, how much is it going to cost me to be able to make a salary and do all that research and development? Like, how much is it going to be for me to create all those recipes, get all that kind of stuff going, right? And then my construction costs, because every place, even if it's you found a location and a facility that was like a previous restaurant, which I did, because, you know, my husband's in real estate, I still had somebody come out and they were able to give me a cost on how much it would cost to do those renovations that I needed, and I did it conservative. So I did it conservative high to make certain that if any issues happened, I was covered. And then I have my soft costs here. And the soft costs are those oh my goodness, we didn't account for it kind of things that happen. Because how many times have people watched the good old like HGTV and looked at the like HGTV and you like Property Brothers and all those guys, and there's always something that shows up that nobody accounted for, like the wiring or the plumbing and stuff like that. That is where your soft costs are. So you can plan for that stuff. Sparkling Chef, you have a question real quick.
Yeah. Can I get a copy of that?
My homework?
Yeah.
That's my homework.
Pretty, please.
Well, actually, I did something better for you guys also in the slides. I gave you all a link to where I found all these templates so that you guys can create your own. So don't worry, I thought of you. But then let me also show you guys, because I have my monthly budget that I came up with. I also forecasted my sales. I figured out, because remember, you guys, you needed to look up your competition and see what they were doing with your SWOT analysis. Remember that? And now you can kind of figure out between what what your location is looking like, what your economy is looking like, and be able to figure out between that and your competition to get a guideline of how much money you actually think you're going to be spending on this. Like how much money you're going to be getting, how many sales you're going to get. And so I was able to figure out that if I had 12 people per class and 29 classes in the beginning, it's probably going to be a little bit slower. So I'm going to put myself at 50% occupancy, being conservative, and then worked my way up. Ta-da. And then from there, I was able to figure out my balance sheets. I was able to figure out my 3-year cash flow that has that money coming in, and making certain that I am actually spending it accordingly, right? So, and it shows that I'm making that, you know, I'm going to be making over 800,000 by year 3, that kind of stuff. I have the summary, so if it's too much for people. And then I have my projected income statements. I even have right here what my competition was doing. And I had my future projections for my income statement, all of that fun stuff. I see like the chat is blowing up right now. All I see is people going. But this is stuff that you guys need to know. So Abraham, what is your questions here? So what's your issue so far?
I know all this stuff already.
Well, that's great that you know all this stuff. That's really, really fantastic. But remember, this is for people who've never done this before too, right? So we got to make certain that everybody knows this.
Well, I mean, how's anybody going to figure it out when you're just showing us a bunch of spreadsheets, not explaining anything?
Because I'm showing you as a guide, and then I actually am going to go over the spreadsheet, like everything with you guys. So give it a chance. It's going to be good. We're going to go over all this great information.
All right, I'm just waiting for you to start teaching. Okay, I'll wait.
So, well, if you have issues, we can definitely discuss it after the live session. But let's get back to going over all of the information, and then we can go from there and answer any questions that you have afterwards, okay?
All right, just waiting for you to start actually teaching.
Okay, well, so then all of this information is important because now you can have it so you know, can present it to your investors, to the banks, all of that kind of stuff. And if we go to my handy dandy.
Jeff, I just wanted to say that I'm learning so much and I'm so impressed with what you're doing. So just keep it up. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, Patricia. But don't worry. But we're going to go over all this stuff right now. So
I know all this stuff too, but I'm still learning stuff I haven't even heard of.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are. And then, but if you don't and you want more, just let me know. We can definitely go further and get further involved in this. And we can do it after the live session and whatnot. Okay. So this is, you guys, a profit loss statement right here. So your profit loss statement is that financial statement that shows the company's revenues and expenses during a certain time frame. So and it helps you figure out your net income, your net profit. So to show this, I have for you guys these delightful school of fish. So this right here is your gross revenue. All of this right here. So that means that's all the money that you've made, all of it together. But now I'm going to use this little red X. I'm going to move it over here because I had to pay for my labor, right? I'm going to move it, pay for my labor. And then I'm going to go right here and I'm going, whoop. And then what else do I have to pay for? Do you guys think? With all that money I made, what else? What are my other expenses that we talked about?
Food cost. Utilities.
Utilities, okay, food costs. So that's my utilities right there. And then this one right here, that is my food costs.
Beverages.
What did you say?
Beverages.
Yep. And that's all right there. So you guys have this. And now, and then we'll throw, what else do we got? Marketing. We have rent, utilities, all that good stuff, right? So you end up filling this bad boy up. And now, your guys, we take to figure out how much we actually make. I'm going to grab, ooh, should I grab Pac-Man? I'm going to grab Pac-Man here. And you see this? That was my net. I had a net. I was able to scoop up this much fish. And this was what was left over after I paid for all that stuff. And that is my net income. That's my net profit right there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound good to you guys? So that is what you look at when you hear somebody say the difference between revenue and your profit and your income. That revenue is every single thing that you made without taking those costs out. And then your net income, that net profit, is what you were able to capture, what you were able to actually get, right? Does that make sense for you guys? Yes? No? Patricia, where are you stuck?
So it's kind of related to something. It's kind of like when you get your paycheck and you have your gross pay, and then you have everything that's taken out, your taxes, your insurance, and you have your net pay. Is that kind of the same thing here? Is that what you're saying? I'm not clear on what you're talking about with
So your net income and your that profit is the part of that 10%. Remember that 30, 30, 30, 10? So all of those costs that you were able to get out in order to make that product, and somebody paid you and they paid you money, but now you had to subtract how much the food was, how much the labor was, all of that kind of stuff. And then what you end up with your profit, that's what you end up with, like that profit. And people call it a net income, and they also call it a net profit.
Okay.
Because think of it like a net. You're capturing whatever is left over.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. And then I wanted to, let me go back to my slides. While I'm looking, do you guys have any questions so far? While I pull up my slides. Okay, so let me share my screen with you guys. And then we have the financial analysis, and we're going to break down the numbers. So, and these are ones that you guys are going to hear a lot throughout for business terms. So I really wanted to make certain that I went over it with you guys, so that you had that basis, that foundation to know what to look for and where to go back to and whatnot. So your return on investment is that net profit that we just talked about, that net income, and then what we captured, and then you're going to divide it by how much money that investor actually put into your business. So, and this is something that a lot of people want to know, because they want to give you money, but they want to make certain that you're actually they're going to get their money back, right? Think about like all the Shark Tank and that kind of thing. So say I got my mise en place class, you saw my business name. For those who didn't know, my business name was Mise en Place because I wanted everybody's place to be in the kitchen. Oh, so I sold that. I decided to sell it, and I sold it for $15 million. And if you remember from that financial startup cost that I showed you guys in the spreadsheet, I invested that $605,000 into my business. And then if I do 15 million, so how much I actually made, like off of getting that, like selling my business off, and I divided into that investment, my cost, I ended up with 24.79. So that means every dollar that was spent on starting my business, I got $24.79 back. And return on investment is really important because a lot of people, they want to know these numbers, right? Have you guys watched Shark Tank? Have they heard about how they talked about what's their return on investment going to be? What's their ROI going to be? This is what they're talking about here. And further information, like I said to you guys, I was going to give you, I found for every single link I found, it was the most well-written and easiest forms I could find for you guys to make certain that it was as clear as possible. Because with finances, it can get really, really tricky for writing, because because it can change for the amount of level of, information that people want. And the ones that I found for you guys were the most well-written, down-to-earth explanations that I could find. So like this one right here was Investopia, and they do a great job of going over all that different stuff for you guys. So if you wanted that further information. And then I have found one for your net present value. So net present value is going to be that next one that you're going to hear about. And it's also part of that return on investment. Your net present value shows how much your value of your money is over time, because you always hear about how people oh, I bought IBM and or they bought this stock that was in the 1970s and now it's worth all of, it's worth millions of dollars. And they're like, yeah, I spent $5 on my stock. But remember that $5 is worth a lot more back then than what $5 is today. So that helps you figure out how much you're actually really giving for getting in that value. For investing now, how much value you're actually going to get out of it for later on. Does that make sense for people? Yes? And then I also wanted to show you, I had other ones here as well that I just wanted to point out, that we go over the balance sheet, statement of cash flow, startup costs, your COGS, your cost of goods sold. And these are all the definitions, and I gave those links for you guys just so if you wanted to go further into it, you can. And then that way, and like Patricia said, I am always available. So if you have questions, just let me know. We can definitely go over it together. And then because we are running short on time, and I want to get to the assignment, but I did also give you guys some of these templates that that I showed you guys that was part of those spreadsheets. So if you guys were interested in the like how I was able to come up with all those spreadsheets, I actually found the templates. They were free off of this website here. So that way you guys actually can find that information for you guys. And then we focused on that profit and loss statement, your income statement, because that's part of your assignment this week is going over the profit and loss, right? Remember, for those who have not done week 3 assignment, your late submissions are due tonight. You can get some points for it if you still have time to turn it in. It's due tonight at 11:59 p.m. Remember, if you guys already turned in your assignments and you're good to, like, you need to make adjustments, don't worry, you have until Tuesday. You can contact me and we can definitely go over it together. And then we have our discussion, which is due on Saturday with their 2 peer responses. So that's going to be fun. I will do a video about your discussion, so do not worry. That will come out tomorrow. And then we have our assignment that is going to be due. So remember your discussions right here, your assignment on budgeting. And you have a profit and loss sheet. Now you guys get to check out. And one thing I wanted to be certain that you guys did see is down here are the little tabs that take you to all 3 of these businesses. So you have to remember, look at all of these areas, look at this delightful profit loss statement, and before I forget, if you guys want to have a bonus live session like I did on Sunday, we can do a bonus live session. So please put it into the cafe. We can either do it on Sunday or on Monday, whichever works better for you guys. And then we can figure out a time frame and do another bonus live session for all of you guys who need extra help, okay? So, and you're looking at your cost of goods sold, remember the COGS, and your labor costs, your operating costs, and you're gonna answer these questions right here. Identify at least 2 cost problems from this delightful profit loss statement and provide 2 solutions for each of the problems, because that's what you do a lot when you're in business. You are looking at how to make it better. You're looking at the possibilities to really be able to get your business up and going and working and running and being profitable. And then you only need to answer this question once, but is which of these 3 businesses has the most potential to be profitable and why? So you guys have these 3 businesses, and remember, each one has the ability to be profitable. You just need to look at the numbers and figure out why and how you can get that to be profitable. You know, while he is in the negative, you can look at the numbers and see what is happening. If they're making that much money, remember we talked about the total revenue, that gross revenue, but they have $5,000 in labor, or sorry, in cost of goods sold and $5,000 in labor, and then their operating costs are really high. What do you think you can do to be able to make it so it's profitable, right? And you can't just say make more money, because that's what everybody's trying to do. Everybody wants to make more money, but looking at the numbers, and maybe it's your policies and procedures that you have in place. Maybe instead of, you know, like smoking your meat for the 24 hours, you can get away with doing 2 hours. And then that would reduce, I know, I see you, Bill, with your what? And then that would reduce the cost of goods sold.
Archie, help me out on that one.
Because I was thinking of your business, your concept. Patricia, you have a question.
Yes, not to push the issue too much, but can we go ahead and schedule that bonus session now, or is it something you've got to wait to see time frame issues on?
Well, I say we can come up with an average, and then that way we can make certain that everybody else who is watching the live session archive has a chance to be able to get a say. And then if it is quite divided, I can even just set up 2 bonus ones, and then that way, like, everybody has a chance to come.
So I'm assuming, I know you will send us emails letting us know what the situation is.
Yes, yes, I will. Do you guys have any questions so far? And remember to come to me and ask questions, because that's what I'm here for. I want to make certain that you guys understand it and you get it. And that's where I want to really be certain that you're good to go and that you're solid. So do you guys have any questions so far? Timothy.
All right, so with all this homework, is there an actual wrong answer to it all, or are you just seeing if we've got down what we're supposed to be doing?
It's mostly to get what you're supposed to be doing, but if you do answer Timothy, like, you know, make more money, then, you know, that won't be a good answer. But this is also where, you know, when we talked about with, especially with Chef Gina, giving as much detail as you can. Give the detail. Don't just say, well, there's a problem with my food. Why is there a problem with your food? What is it that is wrong with those numbers, and what can you do to make a difference?
Okay, so any of them has the potential, so I can choose any of the restaurants. I have to show why I think. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, Timothy. Abigail, you had a question.
Yes, I came in like a little late. I didn't get the first hand of the assignment.
No, you're fine. And then you know what? Why don't we, like, I can stay after with you, and then we can go over it then.
Okay.
Okay. And then Sparkly Chef, what is your question?
Hi. Sorry. Yeah, can I do like a one-on-one just with you, or I can email you? Because I think to me, the most important of this whole curriculum, this course, is your course, because I'm setting, my business has started already, and I need to give my financials to the bank, and I need to put it all in my ducks in a row. So I think the most important for me is this class and your teaching and your skills, and it's so comprehensive. Even though I'm not smart like some people are, but I just want to say I need your help, and I want you to go. We can email each other.
Yeah, no, we can definitely do that. And we can do it all the time. You know, remember, once you're my student once, you're my student for life. So just remember, you can.
Maybe we might end up being partners or something.
We can definitely go over all that type of stuff together. So don't worry, we can definitely go over it and make certain that you guys are solid. Because I really want to make sure that you guys have your concept and you have it down, and that it's good for you to go. So when you are ready, you have that foundation to go back to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, well, remember guys, you have your discussion that's due. You have your assignments. Remember, you can resubmit. I am going to finish grading tonight. So I lost power and Wi-Fi service because of the blizzard yesterday. So it was a little bit choppy for me, but I will be finishing everything tonight. And then if you have any questions, please just reach out and we can go over it together. And I hope you guys have a great, great week. It's a fun one. And then remember, look for my email, and then also look in that cafe questions, because I'll post it for the discussion there, like the times that you guys want to do, and then we can go through that. Okay?
All right. Thank you. Aloha, and have a nice weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.